What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or for the first time if you're new, I'm Sylvan, and today I am reacting to Yixuan's character demo, Martial Summit Showdown. I've been anticipating this, I'm very excited for it, I'm a fan of her general vibe, so I won't delay things at all. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and let's get into this. Okay, a simulation.
Thank you for your hard work, Miss Miyabi. The data entry went smoothly. Here's your coffee. Please enjoy.
Starting...
I'll pass. Who's that over there?
Starting with the other Void Hunter level
She's
character.
Here to compare combat data today.
Huh? Was I assigned to compare combat data? Understood. Better not keep her waiting.
Keep her? Miss Miyabi, that's not what I meant.
Oh? Is this what I think it's gonna be?
That's it for them. But seems there's one last troublemaker. Could it be a system error?
Yeah!
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yeah!
We're scheduled for a 3-move training session. Without further ado, let us begin.
Void Hunter versus Void Hunter.
Oh, sure.
Or at least Void Hunter level. Oh, this is so good. Oh?
I should have expected nothing less.
No need to be polite. What I was saying...
I understand. I was rude to hold back.
Yeah!
Let's proceed with the second move.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that we're getting a fight between these two. God, it looks fucking amazing. I love the aesthetic of both of their, like, fighting styles. Jesus Christ. I guess the only place these realistically could fight, like, these two people is in a simulation or in a holo. Oh my god, I love the controlled frame rate.
Isn't over yet.
Oh my god. Missed. Ooh, the change up. I'm loving the mystic martial artist versus swordswoman vibe. God, the like black gold with the blue is insane. Ooh, Tailless's power. Right at the eye. Yo. Ooh, I love the more painted style. The wings come out, and we change vibe again. Oh my god, this is a fucking bombardment!
Almost time to clock out. Why don't we make this quick?
The vocals are a little quiet there, but oh well. Oh boy. Time to go all out? Ah. Yeah. The full ink bird or whatever. Oh my... Jesus Christ! The music is going hard as well. Oh my god, Did they fucking destroy the entire system?
You're impressively strong, Yixuan Shufu.
Just the sheer power of their fighting.
I meant no harm.
Just, oh my god.
So you must be Hoshimi Miyabi. You live up to your reputation.
Yeah.
Can we leave now?
I'm terribly sorry. We're doing everything we can to repair it. Also, about the combat data from earlier.
It's fine. By the way, I still have an unfinished training session today.
Oh?
It involves having dessert with a new friend.
Yo? Hell yeah. So this was a fucking visual extravaganza. I am so happy that they did this for the trailer, because realistically in universe, there isn't really many scenarios where they should be fighting each other, because, you know, they are on the same side at the end of the day, even if they are not the same exact faction. But inevitably, being the second character to be Void Hunter level, the question of how does Yixuan compare to Miyabi is an obvious one, and therefore it is so fitting for us to be seeing that exact question being answered or at least being tested. And it all comes out of a deeply in-character moment from Miyabi. She came into the HIA to test the virtual combat system, do some data entry, before she notices, oh hey, someone interesting is also here. At which point a misunderstanding occurs where Miyabi thinks that Yixuan is here to do a competitive training test of sorts. And rather than trying to fix this misunderstanding by asking, wait, is that what I was supposed to be doing? Am I supposed to be doing a fight against her in the simulation? Because she doesn't think that was the case. But instead, she just goes, oh, okay, I guess that's what I'm doing. And before the guy can stop her, she's already into the system. And so we enter the virtual world. Focus on a fat bird for a moment, as we have Yixuan defeating all of the virtual enemies in this environment, which looks like the Wi-Fi Peninsula. And as she does, she immediately can tell someone else is here. She initially chalks it up to maybe it's a malfunction, but she at the very least is sensing a powerful enemy before Miyabi has even entered her sightline. Very classic sort of anime vibe, but then Miyabi steps out. And as the terrain shifts, Miyabi explains what she thinks is to be the case. And before any debate can be had, she just begins. But in the process, she also sets up what the sort of setup and format of this training is. A 3-move training session, which is reflected in the pace of the fight having 3 distinct shifts, which as Miyabi prepares to draw her blade for this first move, Yixuan is just all smiles, even closing her eyes, saying, training? Oh, okay, sure. She's just going along with it. She's relatively carefree in that sense, it seems. And so Miyabi dashes forward and nearly has her blade slice into the face of Yixuan, but Yixuan doesn't even move. Eyes are closed. We get a shot of Miyabi looking at her. For a moment, it seems perhaps this is more of a test of resolve type thing, but then we pull back to reveal, nope, though she could finish the arc of the swing, she would not come out unscathed. Yixuan, despite being completely casual in her posture, eyes closed, she had countered Miyabi with these almost crystalline-looking golden black ink spears or whatever, that are just all around Miyabi. No way for her to get around them without countering them back. And as they dissipate, she pulls back, sheaths her blade, and says, I should have expected nothing less, admitting you are Void Hunter level. But once again, being fairly casual about all of this, Yixuan's only response is, no need to be so polite, and begin to finish what she was saying, only for Miyabi, of course, once again, to interrupt her by saying, I was rude to hold back. I recognize now that you are on the same level as me. We are both as powerful as a Void Hunter. Therefore, let's go all out. And so we begin with the second move, which is far longer and more dramatic and fast-paced. We get a brief shot as she redraws her blade of Yixuan in the reflection, seemingly a little surprised at the sudden attack, but not at all perturbed nonetheless. We then follow the arc of the blade as it comes towards the same expression on Yixuan's face. Miyabi is once again not going for a decapitation, but for that full into the face swing. But we see the golden black ink rising up around her as we continue to pull in and the blade exits the frame. There's the blue slashing sparkles of Miyabi blending into the effects in this one moment as it's just her eyes at this point. Everything goes black, and then we're in the sky, and it's Yixuan going up into the air. Searching the cloud, Miyabi jumps up. There's this big fucking burst of contact. Miyabi is above her now, arcing downward, cutting through a Shiyu pillar. Yixuan lands, and now we're going down this slanted, destroyed building as Miyabi is chasing Yixuan down the slope. From this point on, most of the fighting is in this slightly reduced level of frame rate, it seems, that just gives a much more distinct style to everything. We can see here, if we go frame by frame, that poses are held and in-betweens are non-existent for the most part. It's much more pose to pose, and so they trade blows in this style, and we have this fun brief pause as Miyabi begins to close the distance once again, but Yixuan is no longer throwing attacks as she just hangs from her ink bird. We follow them from the side now as they go back and forth. They get real up close for hand-to-hand, and then as we land in a more concrete arena again, Yixuan acknowledges this second move is going on for a pretty long time, and she does so as she's getting real up close, grappling Miyabi almost, grabbing her sword arm. And then we follow as Miyabi is just this darting light going around Yixuan as she sets up this just dome of ink to protect herself. Miyabi seemingly can't pierce it immediately as we then switch out to her perspective, but then as she pulls back a little bit to see what she can do, she gets blasted by this tendril of ink, but she just cuts through it, comes back, going through the entire tendril and coming back to where it originated, Yixuan, where we then have this moment of pause. The glowing blade of Tailless, the eye of Tailless behind Miyabi, a show of sheer force and power that has breached Yixuan's defenses. And for a moment here, the attacks become much more abstract as it's just these colors and shapes. But once again, we pull in and show that Miyabi's blade has almost struck Yixuan in the face, nearly piercing her eye. But she simply sighs. The screen goes black, and then we enter this more painterly style. It becomes much more interpretive. She activates the device she has. Her wings become manifest, forcing Miyabi back, who just cuts through this bombardment. We see that this is an utter devastation of an attack, and yet we see neither of them are harmed. Miyabi weathered this attack, but now with the second move finally concluded, Yixuan acknowledges it's almost time to clock out. We're almost done here. Why don't we make this quick? And Miyabi agrees. We see the Tailless spirit enter the blade properly again. It beams with energy. She draws it. We have these impact frames of blue and black as this red lightning also appears. Yixuan has this manifest ink ball that turns into the full power version of her bird. Just wreathed in energy, both of them prepare for this final strike. And then we focus on Miyabi. And instead of seeing her move, we see the impact of her kickoff. And Yixuan just charges forward, a bird in flight, moving around past all of these blade strikes arcing out at her. We see them come close together, and it's just this mixture of energy before we pull out to show the devastation of the VR device, before returning back to the inside of the VR space. They are so powerful that their full power clash is enough to destroy the system. The virtual world cannot handle the clashing of these powers. Just imagine what it would do to the real world. But as we return to the VR world and see what happens post-fight, Miyabi compliments Yixuan. You're impressively strong, as the world glitches around them, and she once again apologizes. I apologize for offending you, I meant no harm. She sees Yixuan as an equal, and we see that they're just hanging out, leaned up against each other's backs. Miyabi is more properly sat down, it would seem, where Yixuan is just legs kicked out, one foot over the other, casual once more. It's this contrast in their personalities. Miyabi is this incredibly powerful and dutiful person who also has all of her goofy stuff, but she is hyper serious, even in contrast of when she is not doing anything serious. Where Yixuan is someone with that same power and capacity, but none of the seriousness. She seems far more casual. Even when faced with an opponent of equal power, until she is literally going blow for blow at full power, is being completely casual about everything. It speaks to me of a certain confidence she has in herself and her abilities. She isn't cocky, but she's confident. And she also seems to not really sweat the small stuff. She once again says, it's all right. You didn't offend me in any way. You must be Hoshimi Miyabi, right? Showing us that they have never met before, they've just heard of each other. Being potentially the two titans of power in modern New Eridu, no wonder they've heard of each other. In fact, it's almost remarkable they haven't even met prior to now. And she, much like Miyabi, offers some respect to Miyabi as well. You live up to your reputation. They've heard so much about each other and recognize it was not all talk. My opponent is someone powerful. And then she simply calls out to the world saying, by the way, can we leave now? At which point a voice just in the sky, being someone from the outside presumably, says, I'm terribly sorry, we're doing everything we can to repair it. They damaged this system so bad they can't even get out. But then as we close out the demo, Miyabi brings something up, saying, by the way, I still have an unfinished training session today, which quickly gets revealed to not be actual training, but just one of Miyabi's training sessions. But Yixuan does not obviously understand this. She hasn't met Miyabi prior to this point as established. And so for a split second, we have the response of Yixuan going, oh, as there's a burst of power from her again. We can tell it's her based on the colors. Clearly she is ready for another round if necessary. But then we cut to black, and Miyabi explains, it involves having dessert with a new friend. she views Yixuan as a friend and wants to get to know her better, wants to hang out, wants to have some dessert together. It's real cute, real cool. Shows that depending on where this is in the timeline, potentially they do have a friendship of sorts, at which point there's just a sigh from Yixuan, which speaks to me that though she was game for another round, she didn't necessarily want to. She's a much more casual person, as we've established, so she doesn't necessarily have as much interest in just duking it out constantly. So learning that it's just wanting to have dessert together as new friends, she just sort of lets out a sigh of relief, it seems. But that is the demo. That is where they leave us. It's real fucking fun. It's fucking amazing visually, aesthetically, audibly. It's just everything is... This is just a beautiful fight, and I love that they gave it to us. It is an expression of currently the power ceiling of the setting, and I very much appreciate that. But with that, feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and I hope you all have a great day. Goodbye.